Thank God that the brothers on the rise now. Endless celebrations all in my house.
Hey everybody, my name's Louis. Welcome back to the Top Bins podcast. Today's episode, I'm on my own and I'm just going to talk about the FA Cup third round. I'm going to go through some of the highlights of it. I'm not going to cover it all, but I'm just going to go my favourite parts of the weekend, my favourite games, and my favourite players of the weekend, all the highlights of the weekend. So first I want to talk about the Villa-Liverpool game. So it was unfortunate for Villa, really, because they had an issue with COVID and their training ground the day before the game. So none of their first team players could actually play, which was really unfortunate. But then it also gave the young nippers a chance to play against Liverpool, which is great for them, just not good for the club to progress into the further stages of the FA Cup. But it did give a chance for that young Louis Barry. He's 16 years old, scored on his debut against Liverpool, which is great for his boyhood club. I love stuff like that. But unfortunately they didn't go through. Liverpool did win 4-1, and deservedly so. They were the much better side, but they were playing against nippers. But they can't take anything away from Liverpool. They are now into the next round of the FA Cup, and they've got a big one, I think. I think they've got United. Next game is a big upset. It's Chorley and Derby. Derby normally do well, and the ex-Premier League team. Young lad from Slough, Connor Hall, he scored the opener for Chorley. And I love it. I love an upset in the FA Cup. And it was Connor Hall scored, and then it was doubled later on. Who was it? Mike Coulverley. Yeah, Mike Coulverley scored the second in the 84th minute. They're much better. They were a much better team than Derby. They had more possession. There's something like 60 to 40 possession. It shouldn't be happening with teams like Derby against teams like Chorley. But it is what it is. They took their chances as well, and Derby didn't. Yeah, Chorley go through 2-0. Great result for them. Next one's Blackpool West Brom. So Blackpool, it was 2-2 final score. It went to penalties, and Blackpool went through on penalties 3-2. They scraped the win, I think. It was Blackpool's Gary Medine scored what we thought was the winner to make it 2-1, and then gave away a stupid fucking penalty. But then they still went through. But that means a Premier League team is out of the FA Cup, which, if you take away current form from West Brom, shouldn't be happening, really. Next game is Stoke versus Leicester. It was a cracking game. Stoke away should always be a hard one, but obviously wasn't. Leicester showed him who was the boss, really. James Justin scoring goal of the weekend for me. I think he's a right back. Right or left back, he is. He cut in. He scored a goal like a curler. Proper good goal. Dominated the ex-Premier League side, Stoke. Nothing really much to talk about there, apart from the James Justin goal. That's why I brought it up. And he played brilliant. Next game, Man U versus Watford. The only reason I brought this up, because it wasn't a great game, the only reason I brought it up was because Ollie started a younger team. It was good to see. It was good to see Donny play 90 minutes. Early goal from Scott McTominay meant that Watford had to try harder, because they aren't the most attacking side in English football. They did play very well. They played very, very well. And there was a big injury for Bailly, and I haven't read what's happened, and I don't know what's wrong with him, but I know it was a knee to the head or something from his own goalkeeper Henderson. But taking nothing away from Man United, Watford played very well. Taking nothing away from United, or taking away from either teams, even though it was a boring game, they both played very well. Next game is Chelsea versus Morecambe. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is that Chelsea started a real strong side, like really, really strong. Like a side that they would start against Chelsea side that they would start against Liverpool, or a side they would start against City. And then they only could score 4. And I know 4's a lot, but it's not when you're starting. This Timo Werner was starting up front, Havertz, Mount. You know what I mean? It was just like they're starting 11 playing against a team like Morecambe. And it did end 4-0, and there was goals from Mount, Werner, Hudson-Odoi and Havertz, but then they go into round 4 for that, and I guess it don't take any chances. I guess so, but you've got a massive club, and you've got all these young players like biting and like hoping to get into your squad, and you can't seem to give them a chance. And these are the times you give them a chance, but you can't give them a chance because you're too scared to go out to a team like Morecambe. It's stupid. These young players are better than teams like Morecambe, and that's why they're playing in your team. But they aren't good enough to play against teams like Morecambe. It makes no sense. Start taking risks, or it's mind-boggling to me. The next game is Crawley 3, Leeds 0. So Crawley looked sick, but Leeds was fucking awful. They had one shot on goal, one shot on target. They had 4 shots in the whole game, which isn't enough against a team like Crawley. There's a goalless first half, and Crawley scored all 3 goals in the second half. Crawley were good, like really good, for a lot better than what I expected. And then what really was funny is they brought on Only Wears Essex fucking star Mark Wright in the 90th minute to like rub salt into the wound, which was funny. And apparently he's played for a few teams before. He played for Tottenham, West Ham, and someone else as well. But yeah, he's 33 now, 32, 33, and he was brought on for Crawley against Leeds just to piss them off, it looked like. But yeah, well done to Crawley, they've gone through. And that's another Prem team out, so that's another upset. You'd like to see them. Next game is Man City versus Birmingham. City started a strong side as well, but Birmingham aren't no mugs. Birmingham in the Championship, I think, yeah. But then they scored all 3 of their goals. Like the 3rd goal was scored in like the 33rd minute. It was like 8, then whatever, the 33rd minute. And then they just didn't do anything. Just like sat back, let them do what they wanted. Just let Birmingham like control the game, kind of like giving them a run out without letting them do anything with it. Yeah, so Man City 3, Birmingham 0. Nothing really much more to say about that. The big game of the weekend was Marine versus Spurs. This game, we were all kind of like rooting for Marine. We all wanted Marine to do something, you know what I mean? Because who their players are, their captain is their striker, who's a PE teacher. In the middle of their field, they got a binman with a trainee plumber, and then in goal they got like some kid who works in a shop, I think, or a car salesman. I can't remember. But yeah, we all wanted them to do well. Dele Alli was class, absolute class. It was good to see him back. He was like running the midfield really. Yeah, he was running the midfield, controlling the game as a player of his standard should be. And it was good to see him back on telly because he hasn't played any football in a long time. Marine had a big moment though when that trainee plumber Neil Kangi hit the crossbar and real shook like Joe Hart, like shit, this like something might happen here. And then it didn't. But like there was that little moment that everyone was thinking, shit, this might fucking happen here. And then it was all downhill from there though. Vinicius scored a hat-trick, free kick goal from Lucas Moura, and then a great solo kind of goal from Alfred Devine. Most of the goals were alright, like good. Vinicius' 3rd goal was great. Alfred Devine's goal was great. Lucas Moura's free kick was great. The first 2 goals were like combined yards of goal for the first 2 goals actually added up to 1 yard. And there was something in the game that pissed me off was how Vinicius scored the first goal, and he like took on the keeper and then just smashed it into the back of the net, and then like did the Mbappe like celebration, yeah, to no one, right? To an 8th tier football team, right? Yeah, they are playing against Spurs, and you don't have any mercy on anyone. But you've done that, and to a team 160 odd places below you in the Football League, it's just fucking stupid. You score the goal, pick up the ball, or do a little celebration, do what you want, but don't be like rubbing it in their faces, you fucking idiot. Like, but then someone must have said something, because then the next 2 goals he scored, he didn't celebrate, and his 3rd goal was great. Like, and you guess to to celebrate hat-trick. But he did, but not like he did the first goal, because I reckon someone fucking said something. But he did score a hat-trick. So in my own mind, he probably gets man of the match for that. But even though Dele Alli was class, if Vinicius scored 2, Dele Alli gets man of the match. But it's a real tight one for me. Top 5 players of the weekend for me are Louis Barry, Connor Hall from Chorley, James Justin from Leicester, Dele Alli and Vinicius from Spurs. And probably my top 1 of the weekend is probably Louis Barry, but not because he was the best player of the weekend, but because he scored a much more meaningful goal than anyone else, and that will stick with him forever, and for that I really love that. Thank you for listening, guys. My name's Louis. This is the Top Bins Football Podcast. Please like, subscribe, share, all that good shit. Thank you.